live on TikTok. How are you guys? Right, and looks like I'm live on Instagram. How is everybody? Right, beautiful. Looks like we are live on Facebook and YouTube. For everybody on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, if you could please give me a thumbs up. Let me know that you can hear me and see me all right. Want to make sure I'm not sitting here talking to myself. Before we go ahead and get started with tonight's show, anyone else exposed to this smoke from the fires going on in Canada? Woo, okay, so I'm here in New York. I'm telling you today, I am loopy, so bear with me. My vision is kind of off. My eyes have been really weird. You can blink, but you can't really open them. Coughing all night. I've had a headache 4 days straight. It's just not a good situation here. I should probably be wearing a mask out there. I think I'm going to start doing that tomorrow. But you know, it's hard because we waited so long for this beautiful weather. It's hard to just stay inside. All right. Hopefully you guys are doing all right wherever you are. All New Yorkers, I know it's hit us hard. New Jersey. Let's just keep manifesting that it ends soon. All right. Looks good. I'm getting thumbs up over here, here. All right, good. I could still use some here on Facebook and YouTube. Couple quick announcements. All right. So tonight, again, welcome, you guys. I'm Ivy Rivera. I'm a psychic medium, a Taino Arawak. I own a school called the Ivy League Psychic Academy, where I train people internationally in everything, ranging from psychic mediumship development to tarot, Reiki, astrology, numerology, paranormal training, empathic training. We work with children as well as adults. So I hope you'll check out classes at ivyleaguepsychicacademy.com, or we are back to in-person classes also here at the Ivy League Psychic Academy headquarters in the 1882 Victorian Funeral Home, 2 blocks from the beach in Dunkirk, New York. So come see me for Ghost Hunt tour classes. I am thinking about opening up this amazing property for retreats. I've had it running as an Airbnb. I've been doing the haunted overnight experiences, but if you would like to come here and be part of a retreat, psychic mediumship boot camp, astrology, tarot, something like that, let me know in the comments below. I ran a poll last week, just checking to see what the interest would be. And you guys would stay here, obviously. You know, it would be a retreat center. So I may do some work on getting that started, probably close to the fall or the end of the summer, if there is interest. All right, I'm going to get into a couple quick announcements here before we go ahead and get started. Tonight's show is Get a Grip on Your Intuition. Are you a psychic, a medium, an empath? What intuitive abilities do you have going on? For those of you who follow me, you know I'm always saying there's no such thing as spiritual gifts. Intuitive ability has nothing to do with spirituality, first of all, but also these gifts are not so much gifts as much as they are innate in all of us, but to different degrees. That is undeniable. So if you want to know what abilities you have going on, you can drop a comment and I will tell you, or you can post about a curious situation, an experience that you've been having, and I will tell you which ability that experience is connected to. So we're doing, what are we doing? Cash App, Venmo. It's in the description wherever you guys are tuning in. Are we able to pop that up on the screen? I have my beautiful producer, Maraid, helping me out tonight. We're doing Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. All right, thank you so much. $5 gets you the short answer. $10 gets you the long answer. Would have helped if I set this up for you guys. All right, Venmo. Yep, Cash App and PayPal. When you go in to make your payment, you're going to want to drop your question exactly the way you want it answered. Okay, so coming up, we have the Psychic Mediumship course. Registration is now open. That begins in October, October 12th. And it's the first time in about 4 years, maybe more than that, that we're doing an in-person class. So come check it out. We are evergreen, so you could jump into the psychic mediumship course anytime. But that's going to be a big deal. We're going to be doing it online, in person, through video download. And we're running a raffle, so you can win a 100% free class by getting your raffle tickets. That's a $2,100 value. And the raffle tickets are for sale at ivyriverapsychicmedium.com. I also have coming up the Strawberry Festival. So if you guys wanted to catch me for an in-person reading, Strawberry Festival at Merritt Winery, Saturday, June 10th and Sunday, June 11th from 12 to 6:30 p.m. in Forestville, New York. You can pre-book a reading with me, up to 3 readings in a row. If you want to do that, just go onto my website, ivyriverapsychicmedium.com/events, or I'm taking walk-ins. I have heard this is an amazing event, and this is like the 42nd year they've done it. So I'm pretty excited about that. We also have coming up, just waiting on the pop-up here, Music on the Pier. I will also be there. This is in Dunkirk, New York, Thursday, June 15th from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., meaning like down on the waterfront. Okay, if you guys want to come and get a reading with me and listen to some live music, again, you can pre-book with me or come for a walk-in. Again, that's Thursday, June 15th from 5 to 9 p.m. We also have coming up, I see you guys dropping your questions. Do so now. Mairead, I'm ready for the next ad. If you guys want to know what intuitive abilities you have, or spiritual gifts, as many people call them, you can drop your question here in the feed, and $5 gets you the short answer, $10 gets you the long answer. We're doing Venmo, Cash App, PayPal. That's in the description wherever you're tuning in. All right, I will also be at Oliver Street Pride Fest, loving the LGBTQ community to death always, and you guys are the strongest light workers we have, supporting our LGBTQ community. So Oliver Street Pride Fest is Saturday, June 17th. I will be there from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Same deal. You can pre-book your readings with me, or you can come for a walk-in. And do we have anything else coming up? Spirits with Spirits Psychic Fair. That one hopped off the screen faster than I could get to it. Mairead, if you could pop it back up. Spirits with Spirits Psychic Fair is going to be at the winery at Margin Manor. Okay, so marginmanorwinery.com. You can learn more about the event, or you can go onto my site. So it's ivyriverapsychicmedium.com/events and pull up the information on the winery. I'm going to be doing readings, and I think 4 of my certified graduates will also be there offering readings. Always a hit event at the hauntingly beautiful Margin Manor Winery. Have some wine, do some tasting, see the manor and the really cool grounds around there. Super haunted, really charming. And the psychic fairs are always a big hit because they're a ton of fun. This is in Appleton, New York on June 25th from 1 to 4 p.m. Pre-book with any of the readers, or we will be taking walk-ins as well. Is that pretty much everything we have? I feel like there's always one more thing. My Symbology book, if you guys have been waiting on that, Symbology book coming up this summer. I am still trying to publish on time. You can go to Rivera@yahoo.com, drop add me, and I will get you on the early bird list. It is not a pre-order because it's not like I haven't picked a price for this book. It's just an early bird list so that as soon as it's ready, if you want to pre-order, you'll get first notice on that. All right, I think that's, okay. I started a radio show. This will be the last thing I talk about. And then we're going to start getting to your questions. My Ask Ivy radio show on WEBR 105.3 FM is in full swing. I think I just did my 3rd week. So on Tuesday nights from 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern, you guys can call in for a free reading. It's my typical Ask Ivy show, but now on the radio. That's been awesome. Okay, I'm done doing advertisements. Thank you so much, Mairead. So a word from our sponsor. It's time to shop smarter, not harder. At Cash Auctions, we make it easy to save money while you're shopping. Our innovative system integrates online auctions and convenient credit card payment options to enhance your shopping experience. Start your adventure today by visiting cashauction.com and find out why Cash Auction is the best way to shop. And if you guys want to become a sponsor for either my radio show or here on my social media, applications are now open. So reach out to me on any platform and we'll get you in for that and up on the websites as well. All right. So we have a bunch of questions coming in. Mairead, I'm ready if you are. Let's go ahead and get started. What intuitive abilities do you have? This is get a grip on your intuition. Are you a psychic, a medium, or an empath? We're going to find out. Post your experience, your question now. We have a $15 question here from Edgar. Edgar, thank you so much for the donation. So that is technically a 10-minute. So Edgar says, I plan to take your psychic mediumship course. In the meantime, what can I do to strengthen my clairaudient ability? Okay, awesome. I would love to have you for the class. You're a natural, an absolute shoo-in. I'm sure you'll do great. As far as clairaudient ability is concerned, okay, and for everyone tuning in, clairaudient ability is the ability to hear spirits in your head as though it is your own inner voice. Now, when we're about 3 years old, this really starts to kick in. So we can hear the spirits with our ears, but when we're about 5 to 6 years old, the right side of our brain starts to develop more and we stop hearing them with our ears. We start hearing them more in our head as though it is our own inner voice. But when we say, oh, this song popped in my head, or this saying popped in my head, or this thought or answer solution popped in my head, I feel like it came out of nowhere. It probably did. Not all of our thoughts are our own. They never were. They never will be. Now, you notice that your clairaudient ability is really kicking in when you have one of two different physical side effects. An anxiety attack. Anxiety attacks, unfortunately, are the number one most common side effect of being a medium, or ear ringing. And you may have both. Ear ringing, like a weird tinnitus, especially in the left ear, but for this particular ability, it could be both ears. A weird ringing in the ear, okay, or a pressure in the ear, like seashells up to your ear. So, we notice this too when you're dozing off or waking up. So, Edgar, I would pay attention to those things: the ear ringing, the heart palpitations, or the anxiety attacks. When you're dozing off or waking up, okay, you're in between the worlds. We say the veil is lifted. That's totally true. And during that time, you can hear the spirits again audibly, just like when you were 3 years old, 4 years old. Okay. It's in full effect. And so you're really going to want to feed that more, show more interest in it. A lot of people hear spirit and they run off and they're freaked out and they think it's a problem. You want to lean in and you want to say, wow, what were you saying? What were we doing? Especially if you were sleeping, you were having a dream with certain spirits. Can you bring me back into it? Can we recuperate this dream and the details? You are going to also want to pay attention to when it's happening. So a big thing with clairaudient ability and the native belief is that it's the bathroom, okay, that is the most active for clairaudient ability to be triggered because of the earth, the mirrors, the porcelain, the water. These are all conductors of communication with the other side. So, ask yourself, Edgar, do I get the ear ringing? Do the messages come through a lot when I'm like brushing my teeth or in the shower? I don't know, doing whatever you do in there. Okay. If it's not happening in the bathroom as much, where is it happening? Is it, in fact, at night as you're dozing off and waking up? Is it when you're in the car because you're cruising along and you're really relaxed, so you're tapping into the right side of your brain? Is it through motion meditation like walking, or cleaning? Is it while you're actually meditating? When do you notice you're having thoughts put in your head? And remember that with clairaudient ability, we unfortunately get the high vibration and the low vibration. This is with any ability, not just clairaudience. But I always say clairaudience is the most dangerous because spirits in the light will put solutions and love and answers and songs and beautiful thoughts in your head to help you along. Whereas dark negative spirits will put in deteriorating, sort of menacing, paranoid thoughts, and it can cause depression and self-esteem issues. So I would also look back at the negative thought patterns that you've had throughout your life and ask when they kicked in the most, because that's also clairaudience. Okay, so start tracking it to learn more. Thank you so much for your question. That is a fabulous question. Who else? I would love to hear from you guys in the comments. Who else thinks they have this ability? Clairaudient ability, the ability to hear spirits in your head as though it is your own inner voice. What is it connected to? Obviously, mediumship. Okay, so when he asks that, he's not asking so much about his psychic ability or his empathic ability as he's asking about his mediumistic abilities. That's communication with spirits. All right, we have another one coming in here from an Ayana. This is a $10 question also. So Ayana wants to know, I feel like I'm at a standstill with my abilities. What can I do? If you haven't taken my course, you got to take the course. You need to get educated. If you did take the course, then you need to look back over your notes, because I give you 50,000 different things to do to keep it going. But I also warn you that if you have something going on in your life that has become a block, an absolute hindrance to your spiritual development or your energetic development, your intuitive intelligence, you're going to have to remove whatever that thing is. And so I would say that for most people in a situation like this, where you feel like everything is just stopped, it's not necessarily because you've been cut off from the spirit world or you've been cut off from your intuition, but it's more like you've rejected it. And the only way that you would have probably rejected it is by deciding that there's something in your life that needed to change and you refuse to change it. So I would go back and I would take a very close look, do a full analysis on what's been going on, maybe the last 4 to 6 months, or whenever you really noticed this was starting for you, where you started to feel very detached. Go back about 2 months before that and ask yourself in a really honest manner, what is it that I was supposed to either add to my life, I was supposed to change, or I was supposed to detox from, I was supposed to get rid of. I will just warn too, this is typically about the people that we're associating with, not necessarily to say you have to cut somebody off, maybe. But if that's what you were told to do, but also, are you entertaining things you're not supposed to entertain? I would also say that, and we talk about this in the psychic mediumship course, when we talk about the shift, when your life is shifting and you're getting more in touch with your intuition and you're trying to spiritually evolve and be of service as a light worker, you're going to go through a gauntlet of tests, and those tests are going to continue. And it's going to require that you're letting go of anything that's toxic. So it could also be about your thinking. Maybe you're refusing to deprogram. Maybe you're refusing to let go of a bad habit. Are you drinking when you were told to stop? Are you engaging in something, okay, you should not be engaging in? I would look there. That's usually the root issue, okay? Especially when it feels this severe. Yes. All right. Thank you for your question. Great question. Love it. And we are going to move on to another one from a Tamara Schlock. This is a $10 question. And she wants to know, what spiritual gift do you see that I have? So again, there's no such thing as a spiritual gift, because spiritual development is totally separate than intuitive intelligence. And we all have intuitive intelligence. Okay. But I feel that when we look at your intuition, the strongest thing you have going for you has been your psychic ability. So we would say that's your clairvoyant ability. This is your ability to accurately predict the past, the present, and the future without any information given. Now, at this point, you seem to be leaning more into mediumship. So if you would have gone through something, I always say that trauma triggers intuition, right? So anyone who's been through a lot in life is incredibly, incredibly intuitive, okay? The people who've been through the most traumatic events, or stress that lasts, almost like PTSD, stress that lasts a long period of time, those are going to be our strongest light workers. So I would look back at anything that's been going on the last year and a half, ballpark to 2 years with you and see what may have triggered, including a loss of a loved one or a pet, that may have triggered your mediumistic abilities, because they're definitely increasing. And at this point, I feel like you're well aware of it. I feel like the last 3 to 4 months, especially, you've been more than aware. You've been waking up between 3 and 5:30 in the morning. You're getting the ear ringing. You realize spirits interacting with you, leaving you signs and symbols and little, messages in the world, little gifts. And you're feeding it at this point. So you're saying, what is it? Who did it come from? What are they trying to say? That's exactly what you want to be doing. Now, when we take the power of being psychic and being mediumistic and we combine them, now you're really cooking with gas. So if you wanted to get into something like, tarot reading or psychic mediumship readings, or even elevating your healing work, if you were doing anything in energy work, now would definitely be the time. Yeah, it's just going to take it to a whole new level. And don't be surprised if spirit's trying to deliver messages through you, which can be really awkward to everybody around you, whether you know them or not. Spirit doesn't care about that. Okay. So you may at this point really want to figure out what you're going to do about it. Okay. Are you going to be delivering those messages and, get educated? I hope to see you at the class, but like, what exactly do you plan to do with this? We have to remember one thing, and this is for everybody tuning in. As our intuitive intelligence increases, there is no shoving that genie back in the bottle. This is it, okay? It's up from here. It's expansion from here. So it only gets bigger. It only gets stronger. There is no going backward. But I think it's very exciting time for you. All right, Tamara, thank you so much for your question. We have another one coming in here from a hunter. I do want to stop real quick. I forgot to ask everybody to please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you're interested in this content. And if everybody could please drop a comment, it helps me out in the algorithm, and do share this video. Also, if you hit the bell here on YouTube, you'll get alerts anytime I go live or I post a video. All right, so we have Hunter asked a $10 question, and he wants to know, what did I sign up to do with my gifts long term? I feel like a normal job is not for me. Okay, so if we look at your life contract, Hunter, and you could book a life contract reading with me at any time, and we were to look at how you planned on using your intuitive intelligence in this life, I would say that the main thing is going to be your psychic ability and your empathic ability. So what you're supposed to be doing, I want to say in your late 20s, all the way through your 40s, like almost like mid 40s, one of the things you're supposed to be doing during that time is learning how to use your clairvoyant ability, accurately predicting the past, the present, and the future, okay, without having any information, how to predict what is going on with people, how their situations are going to play out, positive or negative, being honest that you do see that you are accurate, not being afraid of it, but instead embracing it, and being able to take even negative messaging that may be coming up for them about something that is uncomfortable that's going to happen in their life, and taking that information and really using it with the power of your empathic ability, because you are a level 3-4 empath, being able, which makes you a healer, an energy manipulator. Okay. So you take your psychic ability where you have visions about what's going to happen to them. You combine it with your empathic ability, which allows you to sort of manipulate energy and offer healing intuitively. And you find a way to give them what they need. Maybe it's direction, maybe it's advice. Maybe it's just sending some healing because there's nothing you could do about the situation. If it's contracted, if it's something they signed on to, nobody can fix it. Nobody can stop it. So be it. But you could still ease the process along. I think that there's a lot of healing that you have to offer people, but you don't really know how to say it. And you don't know why you feel they need it. Or, and it's like awkward. You can't just be going up to people willy-nilly and, making it weirder. Like, life's already weird enough, and we're in weird social times, and it's just very awkward, So I think that you have to make yourself available. I would agree that you're not going to be happy forever in a mainstream job. That doesn't mean that you can't incorporate this into a mainstream job and still make yourself available to the public on the side. Okay. Doing your own thing. I don't want to say privately, just more as like a side hustle or a second business. And if that takes over and that ends up being your full-time thing, I would not be shocked by that. Okay. But focus on your psychic ability, focus on your empathic ability, and how when you marry both of those, you can assist people to get the information that they need to go forward. Okay. Good or bad. And this is an area where a lot of people bail on doing light work. If it's not rainbows and butterflies, okay, they don't want to have anything to do with it. And traditionally, in trainings internationally, they would say, if it's negative, you shouldn't say it. You know, you could get sued for saying it. And they had all these weird rules. And so they tiptoed around things. And then you had your street psychics that would just come and spew out any negativity. If they saw that you were going to die, if they saw that you were going to have a disease, if they saw you were going to have a terrible divorce, they would just, say it. And there were sort of those two different camps. There was rainbows and butterflies, and then there were the harsh street psychics. We need to find a middle ground. We need to be able to say, and this is what we focus on here at the Academy, that there is no good and bad, okay? There's just option to choose a high vibration or a low vibration, given the circumstances we're given, okay? And that's really where the spiritual development comes in, and it stops being intuitive intelligence and more about you evolving as an individual. Choose that high vibration. So that's where we should be helping people along. All right, we have other questions coming in here. So we have one from, Shauna. All right, so we've got Shauna Dempsey. This is a $10 question. And Shauna wants to know, have I had an increase in any of my abilities? I feel like you've had a slight increase in your psychic ability, and this would have been in the last, I want to say 2 to 3 weeks, and it would have been mostly obvious through dreams, but also it feels like when you're in the car, the ear ringing, the tinnitus kicking in, almost like a feeling of a deja vu. If you're noticing that you feel like you're going into a deja vu, but it never really completes itself, it never really gets you there. You never really fully, take off or see where the heck that was, like, what the heck is that about? It's almost like you're entering into these time warps where you're tapping into information either from a download or information from when you were in other dimensions, again, when you were sleeping, okay? And you're accessing that while you're awake, while you're going along. So this is where we see that time is really always connected, okay? Like it's cyclical. It's all the same day, really. And I think that the important thing to pay attention to right now is the clairvoyance that's really kicking in through the prophecy dreams, through the vivid detail and the messaging of your dreams, the symbology of your dreams, especially what you're doing in those dreams. Pay attention to the activity and any astral travel you're doing during that time. Now, astral travel is harder to recall because typically when you wake up, you have sleep paralysis, you have sleep apnea, you've got a sort of jolted system. Astral travel is not the most comfortable thing. And because you were traveling to other dimensions while you were doing it, it can be tricky to access that information. But there are tools and techniques. I have a dreams class up on the website that helps you to go back in and retrieve it. You can basically, when you wake up, refuse to move, refuse to get out of bed. Do not roll over. Do not try to get a drink of water. Do not try to go to the bathroom. Sit still and ask of your higher mind to take you back to where you had just been. And as soon as you can grab onto an image or a feeling or a sound, sit with it and develop it. You can also call on your joy guide. Your joy guide watches over your spiritual development, okay? Your mental and emotional well-being. Your joy guide can help you to access this information. Pay attention to what's going on there, okay? A lot of psychic increase. I think in the next 6 months, you should definitely be asking, what do I want to do with all this new? It's almost like research, like you're in a period of research right now. Okay. How do you want to help people and help yourself with that new skill? That is super fun. All right. Again, I want to stop real quick. A word from our sponsor. It's time to shop smarter, not harder. At Cash Auctions, we make it easy to save money while you're shopping. Our innovative system integrates online auctions and convenient credit card payment options to enhance your shopping experience. Start your adventure today by visiting cashauction.com and find out why Cash Auction is the best way to shop. And if you guys want to become a sponsor for either my radio show or here on my social media and websites, reach out to me on any platform and we will get you set up for that. All right, we're going to move on to another one from Teresa. This is a $10 question. Teresa wants to know, I always have panic attacks when I'm in the shower. Sometimes it's so bad I can't function or finish my shower. Is this something more than just anxiety? What can I do for it? I would say that if you weren't attacked or some traumatic event in your past, right, didn't occur in the shower and you've like been to therapy for it and you know that that didn't happen, then you're good to go looking at this, okay? Because like I said a couple times earlier, just even in this show alone, it increases in the bathroom. Again, the native belief is that it's the porcelain, the earth, the water, and the mirrors that are all conductors for mediumship. They are all conductors for communication with the other side. And what are the two most common physical side effects of mediumship? Okay. Anxiety attacks and ear ringing, tinnitus in the left ear. Okay. And heart palpitations or full-blown anxiety attacks. I don't have any students that are natural mediums who don't have anxiety disorders. So, when it's really getting activated in your life, it's an uncomfortable thing, but you also don't want to, and I can't prescribe a diagnosis, but you don't want to like just go running to the meds or to get misdiagnosed with something you don't have. Okay. If we can learn, check out the psychic mediumship course, The Lost Language. You're going to know when it's happening, what messages it is they're sending to you. Then you have a choice. Do I want to embrace these messages? Do they apply to my life? Are these messages I'm supposed to be passing on to someone else? Am I willing to do that? Or are these messages I don't care for and I want to tune them out? However, you cannot make that decision that those are negative messages and you want to tune them out just because of the way you feel physically or the way you feel emotionally. Mediumship is not comfortable. Clairaudience is not comfortable. Prophecy is not comfortable. Going into trance states and seeing world events that are going to come up during the apocalypse is not comfortable. But that doesn't make it wrong. It doesn't make it untrue. It doesn't make it a mental illness, and it doesn't make it bad. It's up to us every step along the way to decide whether or not it's something we're going to utilize or we're going to tune out, okay? And only you can decide, Teresa, whether or not you want to feed it, because as soon as you feed it, you are going to get more of it, okay? Or you want to kind of pull back from it and you want to manage it a little bit better. What you can't do is block it all the time. That will actually lead to disorders, okay? Typically ADD, OCD, depression, migraines, all kinds of other things. Okay. Irritable bowel. We can't just block it. So figure out what you want to do with it. I think that your, ability to stop when it's happening, because it's going to happen. So you could prepare ahead of time. You're going to go take a shower. It's going to be problematic. It's not going to be relaxing anymore. Okay. So know ahead of time that you're going to speak to spirit and you're going to say, let me know who's here. Let me know what your messages are. And you're going to open up that line of communication. So it's not so one way where they're like pelleting you and it feels almost offensive. Okay. It should be a back and forth flow. And this is where the issue really comes from. Okay. All right. Well, good luck with all of that. Hope to see you at the psychic mediumship course to learn the language, because it does get a little complicated. Jessica has a $10 question, and she wants to know, what does spirit want me to know in order to get motivated with my intuitive abilities and my spiritual intelligence? Nothing really, nothing I'm feeling. You should do it. I mean, there's not a whole heck of a lot. The motivation is not spirit's problem. Okay. It's like, you're like, to get me motivated. It's not spirit's job to get you motivated. It's not the universe's job to keep you going. You're either motivated or you're not motivated. And this is one of those areas where I think there's a lot of confusion, because people are always like, give me a boost, hold a carrot up for me, get me to jump higher. Universe doesn't care. Fall on your face, do nothing with your life, don't fulfill your life contract, reincarnate and do it all over again. The universe doesn't care. Okay. So it's not like a personal relationship. And it's the same thing with spirit. Spirit has to abide by the law of the light. So spirit is like, I will help you when you prove that you're willing to help yourself. So you got to get yourself motivated. You've got this show, you've got class options, you got hundreds of other people here in the comment sections talking about their abilities. If you're not motivated to do it, you should probably just do it anyways, because I would say that the biggest hindrance in life is the inability for people to say, well, I feel this way, but I'm not going to pay attention to it. Okay. Your emotions and your feelings have nothing to do with your intuition. Rarely will they ever match. So forget about how you feel. Okay. Forget about how things, make you, almost like connect or disconnect with them, like emotionally in any way, shape, or form, and just focus on the intuition itself. Psychic, mediumistic, and empathic ability. Dive in, and that will give you more mental stimulation. Okay, a lot of logic matches up with intuition, but not a lot of emotion matches up with intuition. And it's going to be that way the rest of your life. So no more messages from them. I think they've given you everything they can. It's up to you now. So hope you grab onto that baton and get running with it. All right, we're going to move on to another one. If you guys are tuning in late, welcome. I'm Ivy Rivera. I'm a psychic medium, Taino Arawalk, and this is Get a Grip on Your Intuition, where I'm telling you if you're a psychic, a medium, or an empath, you are posting your questions about your experiences. You're not sure what ability you have, or you're just saying, what ability do I have? Now, if I don't get to you tonight, or if you would like a more in-depth reading on this, you can go to my website, ivyriverapsychicmedium.com, and book an intuitive ability assessment anytime, and it'll be sent directly to your email. All right, let's move on to another one. This is a $10 from Maraid. So funny. My adorable producer, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All right, so Maraid wants to know, this past year, I noticed I felt severely physically ill on both days when my boyfriend's grandmother and uncle passed. What is this? I never experienced this. Woo, so I've got goosebumps and my ears just got real hot. And some of you may be feeling that too, like, your face getting hot, your forehead getting hot. You reach a point with your intuitive intelligence where you know if someone is going to die. This is called messenger of death syndrome. If someone is about to pass, or if they have maybe contracted an illness that will cause their passing, or if they just passed, as a messenger of death, you're going to feel this, and it's going to hit you like a ton of bricks. And so anytime you feel debilitated, like you're coming down with a cold, you're coming down with the flu, you may have a horrible panic about it. You may feel like the winds of change are coming, or like something bad's going to happen, or like you don't want to get out of bed. You may have horrible nightmares or wake up like sweating profusely. You may or may not know exactly why this is happening. You may remember the vision. You may have tuned the vision out, so you're not able to access it. I would say that if you have it, you're probably always going to have it. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news on that, Maraid, but because it already started, it's, again, like putting the genie back in the bottle, going to be impossible to back up and reverse. You will always now know if there's going to be a huge world event that's going to affect us collectively. You will know if someone's going to get sick with a deathly ill situation, if someone's going to have an accident, if someone's going to die, if someone did just die. And now you know how your body physically reacts to it and how you mentally react and drain from that. I would say that, and this is for everybody, what Maraid's talking about here, notice who she mentioned. How did this ability kick in with her? It was her boyfriend. Okay. And I know her, so I know they live together. So this is someone in her close inner circle. A lot of times our intuitive intelligence is activated, not by something that happens directly to us, but indirectly through someone in our closest inner circle. And that does not mean that the ability is only going to work for those in your closest inner circle. I just mean he triggered it for her, and now she's going to have it with everybody. Okay, so it's going to be interesting. Keep us posted, Mairead, on how that goes. Messenger of death syndrome is not something to be afraid of. All right, we talk about this a lot in the psychic mediumship course. I don't know if I have any students here. I know Mairead's an old student. You know, it's not pleasant, the things that we see, but most people who have it turn toward really strict belief systems or religiosity, or they believe that they're bad, or there's a lot of survivor's guilt, or they think there's something wrong with them, or it's demonic. It's just life. Horrible things happen. You know, tragedy happens. We're all going to die. These are natural occurrences. Just because, again, it doesn't feel emotionally or physically comfortable doesn't make it bad. When you receive information that can be given out to help a family prepare or to warn somebody about something that they shouldn't do, okay, because death is highly negotiable most of the time, we should probably be giving out those warnings, and no one's going to be able to do it but a messenger of death. Okay, so you're highly, highly valuable. You would also be incredibly skilled at this point now, Mairead, in healing. So anything you're thinking of doing with Reiki, psychic surgery, energy work, now's the time to get into it. All right, very interesting. Thank you for that question. We have another one coming in here from an Eileen. This is a $5 question, and she wants to know, what are my abilities at this moment? I feel a little bit of all three. I feel like there would have been a pretty heavy focus on empathic ability for you the last 2 years. So you may be feeling like, you know, you hit level 3 for empathic ability, the highest levels that there are. This could have brought with it, you know, headaches, sleep disturbances, irritable bowel. I can't prescribe or diagnose, even depression or anxiety. And that's coming from the overabsorption of other people's energy, overabsorption from atmospheres and objects around you. I feel like you're trying to get a handle on that. That could have also led to some paranormal stuff going on in the house or following you in general, paranormal activity even in your head. Watch out for clairaudience. You do have this ability, so you can hear the spirits in your head as though it is your own inner voice. Make sure you're only entertaining high vibrational spirits, not low vibrational. Messages coming into your head should be positive and helpful, not negative and depleting. I also think that your psychic ability is really on point, and this appears for you to be more genetic. So this handed down, it does look like a grandmother. It looks like an aunt over here. It looks like a sister or maybe your mom's sister. Looks like a couple different people had it. Didn't necessarily do a whole heck of a lot with it. And I do wonder if they were real negative Nancy's about it, like acted odd about it, or like, you know, super witchy and mystical about it. It's really nothing. Everybody has it, you know. It's nothing to be weird about or something to be paranoid about or to act like, you know, it gives you special power. We should just embrace what we see coming, and we should use it wisely, you know, to help ourselves and to help others. So if anyone in your family used it weirdly and they were sort of like ostracized for that, or it kind of rubbed you the wrong way, they just took it a little too far. Okay. And so I would modify it, make it work for you. Okay. All right. We have another question coming in here from a Pam, and this is a $10 question. And Pam wants to know, what are my abilities at the moment as far as intuition or empathy? Okay. And for you guys tuning in, if you're dropping your questions, you could drop an experience that you've had. You can drop a story that you have about your life, or, you know, some curiosity that you have. Why is this always happening to me? Why did that happen that one time? What does this thing mean? You know, and I will tell you what ability it's connected to as well. All right. So what are my abilities at the moment as far as intuition or empathy are concerned? And this is from Pam. One of the things I feel going on with you, Pam, is actually that you need to do more clearing on yourself. So you may have just entered into a period of time. This is really within the last, like, I want to say, you know, week or so, and this will be going on for another couple weeks, where you may feel as though you have to do some detoxing. And this could be coming from people putting stressful situations on you that you are actually taking on. Okay. So we have to hold ourselves responsible for that. You're going to want to flush some things out. There may be some shadow work that's also coming up to the surface right about now. Look at programming back through the family and things like this. I think that once you get this cleared out of the way, what you're going to see is that your ability to offer healings to others through energy work, or in this case, we would say empathic ability, energy manipulation, is going to be stronger and higher than ever. And sometimes the universe allows us to go through transition like this. Your higher mind chose to go through a difficult transition like this in order to increase your abilities. Okay. So this seems like something you asked for. I feel like it's something you're really ready for as well. I think that the universe is also giving you people, or allowing people to come and see you, be attracted to you, almost like you have a light around you up above your head, kind of like a cab in New York, not that we could see him at the moment, but like if the light were on, it'd be like, that cab's open. I can, use this. Let's get in. This is going to be a good ride. It's going to help me out. I think that people are becoming more and more drawn to you because essentially your ministry is growing. All right. So that's a really big deal. I think that the other thing you really need to be paying attention to here is your ability to know when something is going to happen. You seem to pick up on things like terrible weather coming, or maybe an accident, or somebody gets into a relationship and you're like, this is not going to end well, or when a big job change is coming up for someone. You can predict very accurately timeline and how situations are going to play out. You're going to want to feed that more. Timeline can be tricky because of free will. Destiny charted stuff is guaranteed. It's going to show up in the astrology too. It is fixed. However, free will future is debatable on when exactly it happens. Start toying around with it and see how accurate you are and what the difference is between the two. Keep a journal on all that. All right. Interesting abilities here. Love it. Love it. Who else has a question? All right, we have another one coming in here from an April Jean, $30 donation. Thank you so much, April. I appreciate you. So that is a $10 questions. And she wants to know, what are my intuitive abilities? Okay, April Jean, thanks again. April Jean's intuitive abilities. The first thing that's really coming up with you is mediumship. Second thing is empathic ability, hitting the 4th level back when. So I want to say back in childhood. You seem to have an increase with this, almost like empathic ability in connection to psychic ability around 12 years old. Also. So that may have been an interesting time for you. That may have been a time when you were feeling a little off the rails. You may have been feeling like you were on fire, like you were incredibly in tuned, like you were a step ahead of everybody, like you were spot on accurate, like no one could lie to you, like you knew what adults, even and people in positions of authority, not to trust, what was going on in society that was not real or stable. You may have known. The thing is, it could have also put you on a path where you felt a little ostracized, a little out of your element, or people may have started to treat you differently at that time. Definitely some people may have seen you as a threat. So one of the things that's, I think, important for you to focus on here going forward is going to be the combination mostly of that mediumistic and empathic ability. So now, how do we best pair up mediumship with empathic ability in your case, and what type of, people or platform, should you be working with to build you're following your ministry? Reach out. I think that vending is good for you. So the first thing that comes up is being able to do some festivals or shows or, vendors fairs where you're showing up and you're offering whatever it is, okay, that you want to give with mediumship and your empathic ability. Empathic ability, again, energy manipulation. We're talking Reiki, psychic surgery, any type of energy work. You can do whatever you want with it. Okay. But it's basically energy manipulation. So what do you want to do with that? I think that the way spirit leads you through that process is the key. And that's the mediumistic aspect that sort of trumps everything else you're going to be doing probably in light work for the rest of your life. So wherever spirit leads you and guides you, That's what you want. That's where you want to go. Whatever they lead and guide you to do, that's what you want to do. And when spirit says something to you, like maybe do, videos or something like that, that maybe you should take on more with social media. Maybe you should be getting yourself out there more so people can actually see you and hear you and access you. You're going to want to take that very seriously. And I think that this is for everybody, okay, but especially for you, an important element here is that you don't let your ego run away. And when you start getting into different aspects of healing work, or it's almost converting more into a business, you have to remember a couple key things. It's light work first, business second. And it's whatever spirit tells you to do first, not whatever you feel compelled to do. Okay. So you have to sometimes it's a counterintuitive. All right, to what you think is going to work out there. That's the best way I can describe it at this time. It'll make more sense as you get more into it. But yes, I would focus on marrying those two abilities. Okay, big deal for you for sure. I would also say that you're going to be doing all kinds of healings and spirits just showing up. I mean, this already happens. Spirits showing up left and right. So you're the kind of, if we were to say Reiki, for example, you're the kind of Reiki practitioner that's getting messaging the entire time. Is it appropriate to be saying that while you're giving a healing? Not really, because they're supposed to be having their own experience, but afterward you can, if you're in an acceptable location for that, or they know you for that. This will kind of be your thing. I like it a lot. All right. Good luck with all of that. Great question. Thank you so much. What is next? We have one from Andrea, and this is a $10. And she wants to know, what ability should I be focusing on? Okay, good question. Should you be focusing on? I think fine tuning. They're showing it almost like sharpening a knife or two knives. I don't know, like two knives up against each other. Psychic ability. So in your case, you need to work on a couple different things. First of all, detail. All right. Giving general messages to people doesn't really help them out. Leaving it up to their imagination is often a terrible idea. Give detail. All right. So I want to make sure when I'm done giving a reading to my client, they're flabbergasted. By the time we get to their questions, they don't even have any. They're like, how do you know that? How do I know that? Because I slow my roll when I'm giving a reading and I get detail on every single little thing so that they understand exactly what I'm telling them. Okay. So you need to make sure you've got the depth in the messaging. I think the other thing you need to work on is timeline. So you need to make sure that you understand when something is going to happen, especially in regards to future versus past, because you seem to sometimes crisscross. Okay. So if you're telling somebody something about the future and it already happened a couple years ago, it's going to ruin your credibility. You have to be able to say, I see this topic coming up in the future because it's unresolved, but it started a long time ago. This is an old topic, okay? So that's one thing with timeline you need to work out. Also, getting down to specifics. So when I tell somebody, for example, I see him having a baby, I see a baby trying to come through from the other side. I don't want to be like, nah, somewhere in the future, or maybe like, I'm getting the number 2. So be careful. That could be 2 weeks. No. You need to know, is it 2 weeks? Is it 2 days? Is it 2 months? Is it 2 years? What exactly are we talking about with timeline? The other thing with this is if it can move. If timeline is moving all over the place, you got 2 different reasons for that, okay? It is either destiny charted, meaning it is fixed, it is going to happen, okay? Or it is free will, future. And we don't know what's going to happen with free will future. There are too many hands in the pot. So the person you're reading could affect timeline. The people involved in the situation could affect timeline. Other circumstances can affect timeline. So you need to understand the difference when you are giving a timeline between what is destiny charted and what is free will future. Okay. And that's where we have to boldly say, I don't know it all. I don't know what to tell you. I can't give a 100% guarantee because I don't know what you're going to do. I don't know what other people are going to do in this situation yet. It's not determined yet. Okay. Great questions. I was just talking to somebody yesterday who said, you know, do you think all these apocalyptic things in the world are going to happen, or not in the world necessarily, just, you know, like mostly in America, you know, do you think this and that and the other thing is going to happen? And like people with their guns and, you know, all the banks shutting down and this and that. And I said, quite a lot of it is actually going to end up happening. And that was not determined until about a year and a half ago. So it was in a free will zone. A lot of things are falling in a free will zone up into a specific point. Okay. And then it becomes determined. And, you know, that you got to change the game up accordingly. But that doesn't go for everything. All right. Another question coming in here from a Kamara Grigori. And this is $11 donation. Thank you for the donation, Kamara. Yes, I count on my fingers. Okay. Hi, Ivy. I love my intuition. And I do my best to tune in and listen as much as I can. One thing I can't figure out is, why is my sleep being interrupted night after night? Am I missing something? Okay. You know, I would normally say check and make sure that there's nothing that's stressing you out that's an unresolved issue, because probably what you're doing is trying to fix it in your sleep. So in my dreams class, I talk about subconscious dreaming. One of the 4 categories of dreams is subconscious dreaming. And that just means that there's a problem you're trying to resolve. Okay. I think in your case, though, what you're doing is working. And one of the annoying things with working is that you can find yourself working with guides. So pay attention to your dreams. Try to go back and retrieve them when you wake up. Okay, so 10 minutes in the morning with your cup of coffee would be a great time to sit with your guide and say, help me retrieve these dreams. Jotting them down, okay, while you're in bed at night, the symbology, also smart. So when you're working with guides at night, you could be working to fix world events. You could be working to bring healing to groups of people. You could also be working with other people's guides, more from like your soul tribe, you know, and people you have some closer connections to. You will know that you were working with guides if there were a lot of meetings in your dreams. If you're always in a weird building where there's like a bunch of other people. If you're always in a dream with a big house and there's like, seem almost like a party going on, a lot of like buffet foods being served, somebody always cooking in the kitchen, or somebody's always baking or putting out sandwiches. And, you know, there's this sense of like a meeting. It's like an ongoing, almost like you're living in a commune type of atmosphere. Who gets these? Okay. Drop a thank you. Okay. I can't be the only one. I know I'm not the only one because my students get them too. But when you're in that type of an atmosphere, you're basically having meetups, you're having meetings, and it's like a think tank. Like you're getting together to come up with ideas and solutions for problems that are going on that need to be fixed out in the world, with groups of people helping along. Okay. It's exhausting. So that sounds fun. Oh, really? Living in like a building with like a bunch of other people and everyone's eating? Yeah, it sounds great. But there's a reason it's happening that way, because everyone's trying to replenish their energy. It's exhausting. So you wake up, you got dark circles under your eyes, you feel like you didn't sleep at all. You know, you can't remember what the heck you were doing. I talk about this in my Meet Your Guides class. Then the other thing you could be doing is working for angels. Working for angels, I talk about this in the Coffee with Your Angels class. You are going to be driven into the ground, okay? And often these two do happen simultaneously or interchangeably. You may wake up absolutely exhausted with a weird either film or oil on your face. I call this the anointing oil, but when you are working for angels, it's not the same as working with guides. They basically just give you orders and you go out into the world in other, you know, dimensions sometimes, or in future situations, and you try to fix it. You try to fix it. You try to fix it. Say it's a car accident, for example. You get involved. You try to stop the car accident. You try to stop the car accident. You could find yourself on repeat for hours, days at a time, and it's absolutely exhausting. Okay. So check out those classes. Know how to put your foot down. You have to know when it's time to say, I need a break. I cannot work tonight. Okay. And they'll let you off the hook. You're going to have to go back to it, but you can get off the hook. All right. We're going to move on to another question. Elena asked if $15, okay, with the donation. Thank you so much. You guys are so sweet for the donations tonight. Really appreciate that. So this is a 10. Okay, so Elena says, I'm having a hard time dealing with my messenger of death syndrome and visions of murders and crimes. Any advice on how to cope and what are my next steps? Okay, again, thank you for the donation. How to deal with murders and crimes. Well, I train my students in criminal investigations missing persons class. And I think that once you understand what the information is, what you're able to do with it, how you can actually get out there and help people with it, you feel far more empowered. When you're in that in-between stage, you're not properly trained, no one's going to take you seriously anyways, you're just being bombarded with the information. It feels like you're trapped and like your world is becoming so negative, especially at night, you don't even want to fall asleep anymore. It's like one nightmare after another. You're probably seeing, okay, murders that have happened and even more upsetting, murders that are about to happen. So we need to remember that a murderer is never murdering just one time. So some of what you're seeing is something that could be prevented if you knew how to handle the information or intercept it, intervene in some way. Not to say that you always can, but sometimes we can. And when you start to tap in with one victim, all the other ones sort of come along with it. Okay. It's like a package deal. If you ever saw the movie Something Bones, who remembers what I'm talking about? There was like a girl with blonde hair, Lovely Bones. Okay. Am I thinking of the right movie? Lovely Bones, right? She's like a young girl. She was like 14. Anyways, go back and watch that movie. One of the things you would notice, okay, is that in that, I mean, they really did their research and they must have met up with some mediums on this, or, you know, psychics do this kind of work. What happens on the spirit side of things, they don't become trapped and earthbound per se. Okay. That's highly unlikely. But what they do is sort of collectively work together on some unfinished karma. So whenever there's a group of people, living or deceased, working on karma, we would say there's karmic debt, there's a karmic lesson, there are karmic dues owed. Okay. There's karmic work that needs to be done. You are now part of this. All right. And you have to decide what you want to do about it. I can't give you a magic cure to turning it off, because this ability is something that, again, can't be blocked. You can learn to control it. But because it is really useful and because murders are unfortunately not going to stop, you know, it's not really going to just disappear until you decide, all right, what you want to do with it. That would be the first step. Okay. All right. Yes. Lovely Bones. Thank you. A couple people said, yes, really good movie. It was, I thought it was really well done. All right. I think that, also, I just wanted to say to Elena before we move on to something else here. I think that when you acknowledge that you're getting a vision about something terrible, you really ask the vision itself, okay, what it is that you're supposed to do about it. Just start with the basics. Why am I seeing this? What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do with it? All right. Sometimes it's psychic. You know, sometimes it's empathic, but sometimes it is mediumship and there is a spirit there who's going to directly answer you and be like, this is what I want you to do about it. Okay. Go to the cops and give them this address, you know, something like this. You don't know what kind of answer you're going to get until you start asking the right questions. Okay. So don't just roll it all in together. Where's it coming from? Psychic, mediumistic, or empathic? Because messenger of death syndrome is really all three. That is not an easy one. I feel for you, Elena. I know. I've had it since I was a kid. I don't enjoy. All right. Thank you so much for your question. Ann, okay, has a $5 question. And she wants to know, why do some intuitive or spiritual people act weird around me? You know, there aren't really spiritual people because we're all like spiritual beings having a human experience. I would also say that there aren't intuitive people because we all are innately intuitive. All right. Again, just to different degrees. So it's very possible that you've put them in that category or they've put themselves in that category and they want to be seen that way. but they're not maybe as in touch as they would like to believe they are. A lot of people who claim that they are these things really have the least of the abilities. All right. So whenever I see someone saying like, I'm 6th generation medium, no, you're not. We're all 6th generation medium. There's nothing special about that. Okay. We do find that people that are Black, brown, red have it more than the average person. LGBTQ, those who've gone through trauma, these are the people who have it to an increase. But everyone else is just sort of toying around. Okay. It's kind of like a hobby to them. And you may be around some of these people. Okay. So when they're near you, if they sense that you have it to a heightened degree, they can be very turned off by that. People are very offended when they get around an actual intuitive. They're kind of shocked at how awkward the energy really is. And they will feel confronted in some way, like you can see through them. You can see who they are. You can read their mind, because telepathy is a big part of all this, especially with empathic ability on the 3rd and the 4th levels. Telepathy develops. Okay. And so you may make them uncomfortable. I would also say this. I have seen this since I was a kid, and I teach my students about this straight out of the gate, like week number 1. Those who are going to realize, okay, that you are incredibly evolved spiritually, or you're very intuitive, or you have a really high vibration, they're going to automatically feel like overwhelmed and like either push you away or like you're deliberately blocking them. Okay. And they may wonder why. Why are you blocking me? Why aren't you more friendly? Why aren't you making more eye contact? Why can't I come right up on you and sit on your lap and touch you? No, and no. So keep people at an arm's reach. The thing is, the more spiritually evolved you are and the more intuitive you are, the more you know to keep other people's energy outside of your space. Okay. And they feel that and they don't like it. Who wouldn't like that? Someone who wants to manipulate. Okay. So who cares what other people think? I don't know. In a roundabout way. Okay. I hope I answered your question. Thank you for that. But who cares? Who cares what anybody thinks about anything? Don't worry about them. Worry about you. Focus on you. Focus on you. You're never going to please everyone. People are always going to be a bunch of weirdos. You know what I mean? And like, who knows what's going on with their energy? It has more to do with them than it ever has to do with you anyways. Okay. So don't feed it. Stay in your lane. Mind your own business. Keep your nose to the grind. All right, we have another question coming in here from a Christina H. This is a $10 question. There's 7:30. All right, Christina wants to know if you guys are tuning in late. I am taking your questions on spiritual development, intuitive abilities, post about an experience you've had, you have questions about, or if you want to know what type of intuitive intelligence you have going on, I will tell you. If I don't get to you tonight, or if you want a more personal private reading, you can go onto my website, Ivy Rivera, psychicmedium.com. That's above or below in the description, and click on Intuitive Ability Assessment. All right, so we are on to Christina H. Hi, Ivy. I know I'm clairaudient, but sometimes it just works when it wants to. How can I tap in better? And do I have other abilities? Okay. You can tap in better by taking my course. I'm not going to promote any other course or any other method. So check out the Psychic Mediumship course. We focus 28 weeks on triggering your clairaudience and all other clairs. Okay. So that's what I do. You don't know when it's coming, but you're going to have exercises and all of a sudden it's going to activate it. So you have to go through a series of exercises in order to feed it. And then you have to polish up your understanding of it and get educated. And you have to make sure that you're using your discernment. So with clairaudient ability, again, you're attracting light and dark energies. Especially, dark spirits, dark entities in the world that want to take you down are going to just make a beeline for this. I mean, this is the one they want. They hope you have this. It's very easy to put negative thoughts in your head and get you destructive against yourself. Okay. So I would say that one of the things you can do is to pay attention to your thought patterns throughout your entire life, and when they've been really positive, when they've been really negative. I would also pay attention to when you've gone through a lot of problems and you've spontaneously received answers to those problems, or when you've had the anxiety attacks and the tinnitus, especially in the bathroom. Okay. But they have really come along with supportive messages or songs or breakthrough thoughts in your life. So look back, do a little homework, do a little research on yourself and how you receive, where your discernment lies, when it's the strongest for you. If it's coming and going the way you just said it is, it's working, yeah, when you need it. Okay. So again, coming in for the class is like training you to control it. There's a big difference between, I get it sometimes versus I am capable of sitting down and doing this by choice whenever I choose. It's like turning on a light switch. Okay. What other abilities do you have? I feel like you actually have a lot of clairvoyance going on. And the first thing I was actually getting with you was clairsentience. So clairvoyance, the ability to predict accurately the past, present, and the future. That's psychic ability. Okay. Prophecy. You may or may not go in and out of trance states with that and sometimes forget what you were doing or what you were saying or have time lapses, like time warps. People will say to you, wow, that thing you said to me was really insightful. And you're like, I said that? When did I say that? I didn't say that. Yeah, you did. Okay, but you were in trance. So expect more of that. I would say within the next year to a year and 3 months. But the other thing I was getting with you was clairsentience. Now, clairsentient ability is the ability to feel in your body physical impressions that are actually coming from spirit. Okay, maybe how they died. Maybe you get chest pain because they had a heart attack or something like that. Also from atmospheres around you. Okay, be careful for paranormal explorations and haunted toxic places like insane asylums and prisons. This is not a good place for you, okay, because you take it right on into your body. But objects and living people, animals, okay, things like that. So you can feel physically in your body what someone else is feeling. And I would start testing that out. Like next time you're sitting somewhere, like you're, I don't know, in a waiting room, right? And you get like a weird pain in your right knee, for example, ask the dude who's sitting next to you, like, do you have pain in your right knee? Yes, it's a little weird, but I'm sure he'll be happy to talk, especially if you're at a doctor's office. People are more than happy to talk about their physical ailments. I mean, I've never seen such joy in being able to complain, right? So, just start testing that. That's kind of a safe zone. Okay. So be like, do you have back pain? Do you have a headache? Are you having this or that? People claim it. I mean, they're happy to discuss it. You need to learn what's yours and what's others. Okay. So clairsentience, great for healing work if you want to get into that, but you got to block. Okay. All right. We have another one coming in here from an Anne Marie. This is a $15. Thank you so much for the donation, Anne Marie. I appreciate that. All right. So we have $10. So 42. 6. Anne Marie wants to know, I was with my aunt when she passed away. 8 weeks later, I was with my ex-husband when he took his last breath. I've since felt spiritually connected. Where do you see all of this going? Okay, I am so sorry for your losses. One of the biggest triggers that we have to increase our intuition is the loss of a loved one, and you had two. In a short period of time. So you're going to increase in all three areas, psychic, mediumistic, and empathic with the loss of a loved one. Where do I see it headed? I think that you could do a lot with this. I think that one of the things that you may want to focus on is mediumship and also helping people, whether it be through like hospice, becoming a death doula, check out some of the death coaching classes I have up on the website. Do you want to help people to cross over? This could be spirits that are earthbound. This could also be people that are going through the passing process. Maybe they haven't gone yet. Maybe they're not, deceased yet, but they're approaching that mark. You can help the families to get ready to embrace that process. When a spirit has crossed over, you can help through something like death coaching where the families can see the signs and symbols that the loved one on the other side is now using or has been using even since they were alive. Usually we start building up that communication before the passing. You can see all of these things because you've gone through the process firsthand, kind of like a hospice worker would have. Okay. So they're really good at this too, even though they don't normally branch off into this. Okay. They kind of stick with that more clinical aspect. But I wouldn't be surprised if you feel that the universe is pulling you in that direction. I think the other really important thing that you can do is to offer mediumship readings in helping people who, have lost, not just humans, but pets as well. You seem to have a direct link to them, easy communication. And I think that delivering out also messages in a style, one of the things I see you being able to do is just sort of like, reminds me of a gallery reading. This is the best way I can think to describe what I'm looking at. Okay. Because I do see you doing it on what looks like maybe TikTok or YouTube or like a live video like this, like maybe Facebook Live or something, Instagram. I don't know, but whatever you choose. I think that it looks like a gallery show. At a gallery show, okay, has anyone ever been to a gallery show where the medium goes up in front of the audience and then they deliver out messages to people in the audience? Okay. One of the things that you may want to look into doing is just starting up a live and being like, I have a message for so-and-so. I have so-and-so coming through for so-and-so. I have this person in spirit coming through to give a message out to you, Kim or Lisa or Lucy or whatever it is. And just like wing it, just like spit it out. And when that message is done, move on to the next, move on to the next, move on to the next. Okay. That's the best way I can think to explain this. So yes, these are some directions you need to look at. All right, wonderful. So we're going to move on to another one here from Lindsay. $20. You guys, thank you so much. You guys are so sweet, and I really do appreciate it. So this is a $10, 45, 40, okay, 46. All right, so Lindsay wants to know, what abilities do I have? Okay, straightforward. What abilities do you have, Lindsay? I think there's a lot going on here with empathic ability, hitting the 3rd and the 4th levels, where within especially the last year, you may have noticed an ability to hear other people's thoughts. Now, this may have kicked in at some point and activated with like a boyfriend or a male friend of yours, a male that you're close to. It's almost like I'm hearing what he's thinking before he even says it. It may have become a thing where you were like finishing other people's sentences, even like your mom or your sister, like other people in the family, things like this. That's always a sign. We don't typically connect telepathy with empathic ability, but I do. Okay, 100%. So what does that mean? Well, it means if you have that, you also have a couple other really interesting things. And for you, that would be electric person syndrome. Electric person syndrome also connected to the 3rd and 4th levels of empathic ability. It's kind of like the movie Carrie, if you've ever seen that. When she would get really excited or really upset, she would like start fires, like burn things down, like terrible things would happen, but they were all bad people anyways. So Carrie really needed to learn, okay, how to like self-regulate. She really needed to learn how to control her energy because she was so powerful that she could cause these things to happen if she was having extreme emotion. So electric person syndrome connected to empathic ability, which is the ability to manipulate energy in general. Don't forget, this is going to allow you when you're really excited or you're really upset to shut down computer systems, drain batteries, blow out light bulbs. Okay, basically everything shuts down around you. And I think that you're at a place where you need to figure out what you want to do with these things. Not necessarily the telepathy, because I think that's going to come up in the next like 5 years for you as being more important. You're going to make a lot of money off this telepathy. Okay. If you bring this into the workplace in a significant way, you're always listening in. Okay. Every meeting, everyone you talk to, everything, what's going on in their heads, you can navigate, okay, to get to where you really deserve to be and want to be. But as far as the energy manipulation is concerned and the electric person syndrome, this puts you in a unique position to be able to alter situations, to be able to make negative situations into more positive situations. You can even put the energy into like a vehicle that's not working and get it to start. You can do healings on people, things like psychic surgery, where you're incredibly skilled at like removing a disease, where you can heal, pathways and clear arteries and, do all kinds of things. So I think you need to look more seriously at what exactly you want to be doing with your intuition, because I feel like up to this point, you've thought a lot about talking about things, but you haven't thought a lot about the energy work. All right. So talking about things is great. There will be plenty of time for that. But I think the focus needs to be more in this area for a while, for about a year, maybe a year and a half. I think the talking will follow. All right. We have another one coming in here from a Michelle. This is a $5 question. Again, you guys can post about curious experiences that you've had. If you've had something happen, you don't know why it happens to you, go ahead and let me know what it is. Tell me your story and I'll tell you what it's connected to. So Michelle wants to know, what are my abilities? Your main ability is in prediction. And I also feel clear empathy. So when I say prediction, when a TV show is going to come on. I don't care if that TV show has not been on in 10 years. When the phone's going to ring. How the heck did you know that? When a weird email is popping in. You may wake up in the middle of the night and know that something was just delivered to your phone. Not specifically, but you're having a weird dream about it. Okay. So you're having a weird dream and then you're like, that's weird. This message that came into my phone at the same time is similar. It's more than similar. It's not coincidental at all. That information came to you and you processed it without even looking at it. Okay. And made up a dream out of it. So you're starting to connect all these dots and it's getting colorful. I think you're going to be in the next 2 years figuring out more about what you want to do with it. I wouldn't be surprised if you get into something like tarot cards or using a pendulum. Okay. Be careful with tools. You must learn discernment. Okay. You must know that at all times. But I think that you're going to be able to really help people quite a lot and accurately. Okay. With detail and timeline and things like this, especially in regards to relationship dynamics. And I feel that with the clear empathy that you have going on, you're really, really good at knowing what other people are thinking and feeling emotionally. So clear empathy is the ability to know what someone is experiencing without them telling you what it is that they're going through. And you don't just get the information coming from them, you get the solution. Okay, too. But again, you have to be willing to give that solution. It has to be an appropriate atmosphere. And so you may want to consider making yourself available, okay, for people to come to you, because your clear empathy can work in giving them direction really, really well. Quick, easy. It's like effortless for you. All right. Thank you so much for your question. We are at time. Yes. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Mairead, my beautiful producer. Thank you, everyone, for the sweet donations and for tuning in, whether you are on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. If you want to book a reading or a party or an Ivy League psychic fair, we bring the psychic fair to you. Go to my website, ivyrivera.psychicmedium.com, and please do take classes. These are innate abilities in all of us. So go to ivyleaguepsychicacademy.com and register for the psychic mediumship course coming up in October. I hope to see you there. All right, everybody, have a great night. I'll see you soon.